It's a different kind of passion that may be the secret to the Weather Channel's appeal. A passion for the weather.
Oh! Is that lightning?
When we come back, the most important storms in America's and the Weather Channel's history. But first, a minor moment in their history they might rather forget.
I like snow, John.
Well, there's a lot of it right there.
A lot of it. And we need these aviation weather reports because I'm going to be flying across the skies. I need to know what the weather's going to be like.
Okay, are you about ready to go now?
Eat what you want. Stack it too. The world's strongest fat burner.
Hey guys, I'm home.
Your kids have graduated from college. It's now your home to organize any way you please. Your daughter's old bedroom, you've converted into your very own craft room. Your son's old bedroom, perhaps you converted a bit too quickly. Ace, your helpful hardware place.
Mom?
Hi, I'm Steve Schultz with a thought for your garden and your family. Everyone wants to grow beautiful flowers, hearty, healthy vegetables, and plants that are nothing short of incredible. But we also need to think about the bigger picture. That's why there's new Schultz Garden Safe. Effective, earth-friendly products you can feel comfortable using. Garden Safe products help your plants without harming the environment. Schultz Garden Safe, it's the right thing to do.
Get a free gardening CD with specially marked Schultz products. Details in stores.
Explore the globe on a weather holiday. View the world's highest weather station perched on the Swiss Alps.
We have a lot of change from the weather.
Only on Atmospheres. Next Sunday night at 8, Eastern and Pacific. Only on the Weather Channel.
Hold on. I lost my wallet. My credit card was in it.
You do have a Capital One no-hassle card, don't you?
Well, don't worry. There's not another human for miles.
Want protection if you lose your credit card? Check your mailbox today for Capital One's no hassle card offer. Plus, get the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates.
Every year, J.D. Power & Associates gives awards for customer satisfaction. They reflect things like performance, reliability, ease of handling, and exceptional service. Now, Countrywide is very proud to be the first home lender ranked #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power & Associates.
I couldn't wait to tell you. You're approved.
Countrywide makes it easy, really.
Surfing through the TV channels, there are hundreds of choices. People are looking to be entertained. They're looking to be informed. But of all the channels out there, a special relationship has been developed with one.
This is a particularly dangerous and life-threatening situation. A tornado has hit Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That same storm now is headed toward Bessemer and Birmingham, Alabama.
Unlike most television stations, the Weather Channel gives information that could help save someone's life.
Because vehicles can become missiles during a tornado, people do need to get out of their cars. But a bridge or overpass is no protection.
And over 20 years, viewers have formed a bond of trust.
I think they provide services to all over the country to people who are in a vulnerable position as far as hurricanes and tornadoes and that sort of thing.
You always turn to the Weather Channel because you can't always get instant updates on the local channels. So the Weather Channel is good when they have those tropical storms. You're trying to track them and everything else.
To many viewers, the Weather Channel is different than other cable channels. It's the only channel offering weather information 24/7. People have come to rely on the Weather Channel more as a public service.
Right out over the water.
Something to be trusted, especially in times of severe storms.
Every time there's a hurricane in the Gulf, we are glued to the Weather Channel. That's part of living on the Gulf Coast. If you live in Montgomery, if you live in Columbus, if you live in Birmingham, Atlanta, Chattanooga, Knoxville, this is your Hurricane 2.
The Hugo and the Andrew events and the graphic depictions of both of those storms in the media has served to reinforce the need for people to evacuate. And the Lessons of Andrew series on the Weather Channel had uncanny timing in terms of our ability to deliver that message.
Federal and local officials watch anxiously as storms edge closer. To them, Weather Channel is a vital resource.
Weather Channel has become a mainstay in any emergency manager's office that you walk in.
The general feel has been around Panama City. Dennis?
Over the years, many professionals have come to trust the information they get from the Weather Channel and use it on a daily basis.
Weather starts early in the morning when I first get up and I look at the Weather Channel. I check, of course, my route, but I check the effect of what is soon to happen.
Even those moving a little slower turn to the Weather Channel.
Watch Weather Channel probably every day. You know, it not only being a pilot from my end of it, but as far as races are concerned, you know, you're constantly affected by the weather.
In fact, the trust people place in the Weather Channel extends all the way to their children. The Weather Channel is in the classroom.
We're trying to learn why it is that some supercell storms produce tornadoes and others don't.
With more students having access to computers, teachers now use the Weather Channel through the internet.
And you're going to put overcast.
I teach meteorology in 8th grade earth science. I love the Weather Channel. I watch it all the time. Tell my students to watch it.
Now, from the Weather Channel, here's your local forecast, always on the 8s of every hour.
Weather Channel viewers have also learned over 20 years that they can always tune into the local forecast to plan their daily activities.
For construction, so I gotta watch the radar. Even in the homes I work in, we gotta turn it, put your cable, shut the Weather Channel on. I gotta see what the weather's gonna do.
I watch the Weather Channel, prepare my day, so I know what to expect as far as weather goes, what to be able to wear.
Well, it helps me because I work for our school district, and we have to be constantly aware in the wintertime when we get a heavy snow to go out and plow the driveways, parking lots, shovel snow.
As the Weather Channel continues to build on this trust, they are working on ways for more people to get weather information. This information will no longer be restricted to TV, radio, computer, and newspaper. You will receive all the latest info while on the move. Severe weather alerts will be sent directly to your cell phone, Palm Pilot, or pager.
I'm very excited about the opportunities that are going to be out there in the future with interactive and digital and all of the new technologies, whichever succeed.
So next time you're flipping through the channels, try looking at the Weather Channel through different eyes. In its 20 years, it's become more than your local forecast. It could help save you or the life of someone you love. When we come back, some of the greatest moments of Weather Channel history. But first, another moment not so memorable.
Here. You wouldn't even be able to get this off with the wipers as we'll replace that for this gentleman.
You don't happen to know whose car that was, do you?
No idea.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, serving U.S. prime beef for more than 35 years. www.ruthschris.com.
I have 9 grandchildren in 3 time zones. I try to talk to one of my grandkids every day. It can get expensive.
I call her Nana.
A friend of mine told me about AT&T Unlimited. For $19.95 a month, you can talk to anyone who has AT&T long distance at home.
She likes to talk to me.
You can talk as long as you want.
She likes to set the table, and she likes to sleep.
Call 1-800-REACH-OUT.
Carrier Weathermaker 2-speed cooling systems with Puron are the most energy efficient you can buy. You can save up to 60% on your home cooling costs. Carrier, 100 years of innovation.
In a valley, near a river, there's a place called Perfect. In Perfect, there are no last-minute parties or belated birthday cards. Horns are only honked in celebration. And in the evening, there's an extra hour for play. Of course, we don't live anywhere near perfect, so we have Walgreens, open every day, many 24 hours, where we can get what's needed for the real world. That's life. This is Walgreens.
If there's one thing that people tend to remember about the Weather Channel, it's how they covered the big weather events. In its 20 years, the Weather Channel has covered every one of them. Now, we're going to show you the most memorable storms of Weather Channel history. Big storms always capture the imagination of the viewing public, and Hurricane Opal was no exception. This hurricane strengthened from a Category 2 to a strong Category 4 as people slept. A major concern for those working at the Weather Channel.
Hurricane Opal caught a few folks off guard this morning, John, as we saw it absolutely explode overnight and turn into a very near Cat 5 hurricane.
I've seen a lot of hurricanes, Jim, and I never saw one strengthen as rapidly as this. For the Category 4 hurricane, the wind damage could be very, very great indeed.
Pensacola Beach, which did get hit by Hurricane Aaron, probably will be dealt a much more severe blow.
Quite a baptism for an on-camera meteorologist used to covering hurricanes from the studio, but not from the field.
For years I wanted to do live shots, but little did I know that I was getting into a Category 4, borderline Category 5 Hurricane Opal, and literally it was staring right at us and pointed right at us in Pensacola Beach. And once again, the rain has been tremendous. I've probably never witnessed so much rain in my life.
Well, Bill, if you've never seen so much rain in your life, you're going to see a lot more in the next few hours, I'm sure. We had a lot of traffic there, people trying to evacuate. They were bumper to bumper, and that could have been one of the worst fears that we ever have, a Category 5 hurricane catching people out there on the highway where they couldn't move.
And we have seen a pretty impressive hurricane here go up almost to Category 5. It's weakened, and that's great news this afternoon.
While hurricanes have long lifespans and lend themselves to live coverage, the same is not true of flooding, unless you're talking about the historic events of 1993.
I'm Jeff Morrow along the banks of the Mississippi River, where they're having the worst flooding since 1973. Stay with the Weather Channel for continuous updates.
For the last couple of weeks, we've continued to talk about rain, heavy rain, and flooding from the Missouri into the Mississippi River Valley. That crest, that flood crest, continues to work its way south this evening. We have the Weather Channel's Jeff Morrow standing by live there.
Earlier today, we were 20 miles up the river in Grafton, Illinois, and there flooding is already a major problem. This is the last thing the 1,000 residents of Grafton, Illinois wanted to see today. More heavy rain helping to swell the mighty Mississippi River. The streets and houses around the area have already become submerged. Where we're riding right now is normally over about the bank of the Mississippi River. The water a lot farther inland into the town of Grafton. The worst flooding here since 1973.
43, welcome aboard Dallas Line 2156, service San Juan.
While floods are easy to find, getting the Weather Channel people in place before a storm arrives is always tricky.
No, it is not going to happen this morning because we cannot get a satellite signal out of this room, so we have to move.
Sometimes the storm just doesn't pan out, but on most occasions the meteorologist is in the middle of the action.
We are looking, ladies and gentlemen, at one heck of a snowstorm in the making, and it looks like this could be one of the major snowstorms of the century for some of the big cities in the east.
This was not a surprise snowstorm. Everybody knew this one was coming, and they knew that it could be an epic storm, and it looks like it may be turning out to be that.
It definitely seems like the cold air is hanging tough here in New York City, but big flakes, it continues to accumulate.
This has been a storm for the record books in many locations. Here's a look at some of the snowfall that has accumulated from this storm system so far.
I have to thank the Weather Channel because this is something where we started preparing Saturday, moving National Guard equipment and people into the metropolitan area because we did have such advance warning that this was going to be a major storm.
Today, viewers automatically associate the Weather Channel with sending people into the worst kinds of weather. But it wasn't always so. It took 6 years, until 1988, before the first live crews were dispatched. Naturally, it was a hurricane.
And we have a report from them right now.
Well, the weather situation, as far as we're concerned here, it is not that bad at this moment. But as Mr. Lance did mention, he said 3 funnel clouds have touched down, tornadoes in the Brownsville area. And, of course, that's a possibility tonight.
We just kind of drove along the Gulf Coast and made it down to Corpus Christi, where we hooked up with a live track. And they had dispatched Dennis Smith. So he and I hooked up together to do that live shot, and it was interesting. It was just Dennis and I really talking about what we had seen.
Well, Dennis, this is the heaviest rain we've seen since we first got to Brownsville earlier this afternoon.
This is our latest satellite picture, which shows you that the eye is very close to the shore. We'll go ahead and put this into motion, and we can show you what's happened since daybreak this morning.
This storm and its impact was a little bit less than what we expected, but still, just to be out there in the elements and broadcasting was great.
After the success of bringing hurricanes into viewers' living rooms, the Weather Channel in 1990 decided that it was time to cover major snowstorms live.
We are closely monitoring the Midwest's first major winter storm. We've had some very, very heavy snows across the upper Midwest. It's snowing at 1 to 3 inches an hour. And we are talking to Marnie Stanier this morning live in Milwaukee. Marnie, how is it out there?
We are in an intense winter storm right now. Winter storm warnings are in effect. We have winds in from the east, northeast at about 45 miles per hour. And I'll tell you what, I'm having a hard time relaying this to you because I'm being blown around.
I was one of the first people that the Weather Channel actually sent live, other than hurricane. We were sort of pioneers. Being from Atlanta, we didn't have a lot of heavy coats and hats and mittens and the right clothes to wear for blizzard conditions. 40 below wind chills, I believe, that we had not properly prepared.
When we got there, it was just brutally cold, and I just remember Marnie, I mean, they have these incredible live shots of her standing outside and getting blown around by the snow. It was just, it's probably the most miserablest I've ever been in my time at the Weather Channel. But TV-wise, it came off real well because the shots looked so good and so dramatic.
Thunder snow. Have you seen anything like that or heard anything like that?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes, we have. Last night when we were pulling in about 2 a.m. in the morning, we did see some off in the distance, and it was just unbelievable.
It was, without a doubt, one of the toughest times, I think, because we just were out there for such a long period of time.
When we return, the top 6 Weather Channel memorable moments, including a tornado and hurricane that will never be forgotten. But first, here's another moment the Weather Channel might prefer you did forget.
Let me take you to New Orleans by way of video, if we can do that right now. Can we not do that? I guess we cannot do that right now. Well, let me tell you that that is not the video. We will be taking you by way of video to D-Day coming up a little bit later on.
Around Sedgwick County, another tornado warning. There go the sirens again. If need be, we will seek immediate shelter here as well. Right now, we're not in an immediate area of threat.
We were in the general vicinity when the tornado was on the ground. We were actually covering the next storm to its west, and it did produce hail, it did produce damaging winds, but the tornadic storm was just to our east. So we were on the scene probably within minutes after the event took place and started our broadcast on what was going on in that town.
Extensive damage through Andover, and it's in west central Butler County, east of Wichita. But as far as the damage and a dollar assessment, no figure as at this point.
Probably a humbling experience for me, because as we were even covering it the next day with other media outlets in the vicinity, realizing someone was going down the street with a shopping cart filled and realized that's all they had left of their earthly belongings.
Sometimes people don't have to leave the friendly confines of the Atlanta studio. The storm comes to them.
We all really, as a group, had it pegged quite a number of days out ahead. And again, also the models were very good with that, so that helped us as well. People give me a lot of credit for having had that on the extendeds well out ahead of when that occurred.
Good evening. I'm Keith Westerledge here in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. We have a major storm developing in the Gulf Coast. It's going to be affecting most of the eastern states with blizzard-like conditions, severe thunderstorms, and of course, quite a bit of wind.
Here's our storm system once again on Saturday. Heavy snows from New England all the way down to North Georgia, Atlanta getting in on the act to the east.
I walked that morning when the rain changed over to the snow, and I was out walking to work when we had the lightning strikes and everything. It's fun to forecast the weather and to see it happen in any part of the country, but still the greatest thrill is to really be part of it and experience it.
Alongside Bill Keneally and Bill.
In the fall of 1989, the Weather Channel was still relatively unknown. But that all changed when a devastating hurricane set its sights on the east coast of the United States, putting the Weather Channel on the map as the source for hurricane information.
At this time, the eye of the hurricane is less than 200 miles from Charleston. It continues to move toward the northwest at just about 20 miles an hour. We think that's going to bring the center inland by midnight or possibly slightly before. We had our act pretty well together then, and I think we did an excellent job of covering Hurricane Hugo. I was on the air about 17, 18 consecutive hours as the hurricane was making landfall. Now, it came in as a Category 4, and that was the first Category 4 hurricane that had hit the United States in a great many years.
Within the last hour, we've seen the rain pick up, but a dramatic increase in the winds. Occasionally, as we're holding on, occasionally on up to about 50 miles an hour in gusts.
We positioned ourselves far enough away from the immediate coastline that we could broadcast and still get out the information without being in the immediate path of the storm. I probably didn't feel a real threat what the storm could be because we weren't right in the heart of it. We wanted to safely broadcast the information.
There is a story.
The reflectivities are high. Look at the bow shape in that line.
Best explained by people who understand it.
10 years later, the Weather Channel had become a household name, and viewers tuned in record numbers for a hurricane that threatened the entire East Coast.
From Florida to the Carolinas, all eyes are on Hurricane Floyd, a powerful Category 4 hurricane that's closing in on the coast.
5 states are now on alert as a result of the potential impact that Hurricane Floyd may have.
Well, Christina, again, each one of these little rain bands that continues to come in allows for more and more gusty winds. We just had a pretty ferocious gust, I think well over 40 miles an hour.
It's still a very dangerous hurricane, 140 miles an hour. That's down from that 155 it had yesterday.
We've been here through Hugo, and that was devastating. So we want to do it again. So we're leaving.
Nearly 2 million people agreed with her, creating the biggest evacuation in U.S. history.
Fueling up, gonna go home and grab a few things and head west.
It wasn't a direct hit from Floyd, but it was close enough that when we did get the wind, it was gusting well up over 100 miles an hour. There was a lot of debris. You really couldn't see what was coming. That was nerve-wracking.
North Carolina was also hit hard by Floyd flooding. Coast Guard helicopters are working to rescue about 300 people stranded by the flooded Tar River.
The state of New York is preparing for Floyd's arrival. New York City, for example, has opened 20 shelters. Power companies in New York City and Long Island are telling people to expect power outages as that storm rips through the region.
Hopefully we're at the climax of Hurricane Floyd. Still unrelenting rain here in Solomon's Island, 50 miles southeast of Washington, D.C. on the Chesapeake.
Later tonight, off the New Jersey coast, Friday morning, way up here. And you can see here that we don't expect it to turn inland.
Very large tornado.
Sometimes luck has more to do with the Weather Channel covering a story than planning. They had a crew in Oklahoma City in May of 1999, a crew totally unaware that history was about to be made.
I wasn't really scared for my life or anything like that. It was just, everything was just so surreal. And I was in Atlanta in the morning, and then I ended up in Oklahoma City, and there we are, faced by an FOF5 tornado. I remember just being very quiet. There's no wind, and there's just a little bit of hail. But like a quarter mile in front of us, we saw this tornado just churning up everything in front of it.
This is no longer a potentially dangerous situation. This is a dangerous situation. Anyone in the vicinity of downtown Oklahoma City, you should be taking shelter immediately. You should not be listening to me at this time. We have several reports of tornadoes in and around the Oklahoma City area. We have reports of injuries. Let's go to Weather Channel producer Simon Temperton, who is near Moore and is on the phone right now.
Yeah, John, we just were on Highway 44 and we left, as we came around the corner, we saw a tornado about half a mile wide in front of us.
It doesn't get any worse than this.
The unsettling part was that people had not even been allowed back in their homes. We were getting the first look at all of it
damage. And it was just the most incredible, awe-inspiring thing I've ever seen. That all these houses were completely flattened. I'll never forget that day.
Dear God, swing around and you see this as many times as you want, and that to me is just, that just leaves me speechless. That's, wow.
That's not the only day Weather Channel employees will never forget.
As I look back at my 15 years on the air, that was a morning that I will never forget.
Coming up, that incredible storm, the most memorable in Weather Channel history. But first, a not-so-memorable moment.
All right, I'm told that we can go now to a crew standing by in Mobile, Alabama, waiting for storms to move in that direction. Kristen Dodd is standing by there in Mobile, and it's quite windy. Kristen?
Janetta, the conditions here in Mobile, Alabama remind my storm-savvy crew of an approaching tropical storm.
Whenever you call me, I'll be there. Whenever you want me, I'll be there. Whenever you need me, I'll be around.
Chevy. The cars you can depend on. The cars that last.
You never have to look too far.
Chevy. We'll be there.
Always with you.
Carrier Weathermaker 2-speed cooling systems with Puron are the most energy efficient you can buy. You can save up to 60% on your home cooling costs. Carrier, 100 years of innovation.
There is a world that awaits you. Let Herbal Paradise sweep you away.
Hi there. Want the bugs out fast? Call the man. Your Orkin man. At 1-800-800-ORKIN.
Oh, yes! Yes!
Want happy employees? Help secure their financial futures. At the Principal Financial Group, that's what we do. The Principal is the 401k leader, financial solutions for you and growing businesses. The Principal Financial Group, we understand what you're working for.
Explore the globe on a weather holiday. To the world's highest weather station, perched on the Swiss Alps.
We have a lot of change from the weather.
Only atmospheres. Next to Eastern and Pacific, only on the Weather Channel.
Today we are asking ourselves a lot of questions. Esteban, the lights. Richard Foley. Questions like, where will I go from here? What do I need to get there? Will I have help along the way? As we stand on the threshold of a bright future, there are answers, and the folks at Dell have them. They'll help you figure out exactly the PC that's right for you, all at the price no scholar can debate. So I say to you today, Carpe Dimension, seize the Dell!
Call or go online now and get a Dimension desktop for just $749, featuring an Intel Pentium 4 processor that delivers awesome performance for today's digital media, music, photos, gaming, and beyond. And for a limited time, you'll get a free CD burner or DVD upgrade. There's great deals on notebooks, too.
Steven, keep the line moving.
Easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell. Dell PCs use Intel Pentium 4 processors.
Probably the biggest storm in the Weather Channel's 20 years was a hurricane so intense and devastating that no one working that day will ever forget it.
Good morning. We're live in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. Continue to watch history in the making here on August 24th, 1992. Let me show you what it looks like in the form of Hurricane Andrew, a very strong hurricane making its way onshore right now. Landfall again. The eye wall is now well onshore across South Dade County.
Our current conditions at Coral Gables is one of about 80 to 90 miles an hour and an occasional gust, and the rain and squalls can continue to come on down.
You felt like you were at the scene of an accident with no lights. We lost power about 3 a.m. for a 5 a.m. landfall, and you could look out and you could hear metal crunching, you could hear glass breaking, you could hear wood chipping away, you could hear bending and twisting, but you couldn't hardly see it because it was pitch black.
Oh, I was very concerned. As you recall, it came in very early in the morning, and I had been on the air all night, and we did our best to warn people what kind of a hurricane this was, but I always had the feeling, as I do in most major hurricanes, that there are a lot of people there in the hurricane's path that don't quite realize how bad it's going to be.
We will get extensive reports of damage because this was a Category 4 storm on the Saffir-Simpson scale. As I look back at my 15 years on the air, that was a morning that I will never forget. We were watching the eye of Hurricane Andrew cross South Florida, and it was so quiet around the Weather Channel because we knew that we weren't hearing a thing from South Florida. We weren't hearing any reports, no communication, and just the thought of what was actually happening because the eye, when it crashed, held together perfectly.
We were just out there. We realized it could be life-threatening, but at the same token, we had a job to do and we were going to do the job. We had just lived through what this total destruction of this area. Not only did we live through it, but we were there on the scene broadcasting it live to the nation on what was going on.
In 20 years, the Weather Channel has moved from an audience of thousands to a potential audience of millions. Today, it's become accepted by many into their homes on a daily basis. Now, the Weather Channel is growing as a network. It's developing new kinds of weather programming. Specials like Storm Week, Atmospheres, Storm Stories, and other related programming are all part of the new Weather Channel. It's come a long way.
Hey, Weather Channel, happy 20th birthday.
There's a special time of year, and that's Christmas.
It's going to be real cold and snowy in the north. Oh dear. Cold weather. That means I either go in the front doors or get out the fireproof underwear.
I watched Jim Cantore. I always loved him. I like this sparkle. I like this twinkle.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Who was on this wall? Give me a little lift. Give me a little confidence.
Do I get, like, Weather Channel swag? I'd like to have, like, a jacket.
I know the one lady with blonde hair. She was pregnant, and she cut her hair.
How about a golf shirt or something?
Janetta Jones. Yeah, she cut her hair. That was big news in our town.
I want you to see an occluded front. Now, that's what we call an occluded front. That is a weather term.
Can I get some stuff?
And I want Mr. Schwartz to tell what happens to snow shovels.
I'm pleading to the Weather Channel management.
People buy them once a year. You use them.
I will walk around and be a Weather Channel billboard.
And then, when the next year comes, they're out buying the snow shovels again.
Now, here is a backdoor cold front. Watch this.
I needed the Weather Channel to watch the weather all day through. You need us, the Weather Channel, for everything you do. Okay, that's it.
Now you can read how we beat the odds in the Weather Channel, The Improbable Rise of a Media Phenomenon. Ask for it at your local bookstore.